Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. We have had a massive amount of fights getting to Bill's house, but our Pokemon are all the better for it. We have a new Nidoqueen on side, and we also have our new ally in Sunny the Bellsprout. And we are just about to make our way into Bill's house, so let's roll that title card and see what today's episode has in store. The Voice of Victory. On entering Bill's house, Pikachu becomes enraptured by this Pokemon that seems to be standing on its hind legs. In complete confusion, Peekaboo is just investigating this Pokemon, giving it a little sniff, and just something doesn't seem right. When Roxas walks over, the Pokemon starts talking. It says that it's Bill, that he's a Pokemaniac, and he's after screwing up some experiment of his, and he's now after getting combined with the Pokemon. He asks if he'd be able to help him out by activating the cell separation system while he's inside the pod. Peekaboo runs up to the pod and kind of looks in through a little window and sees the Pokemon kind of standing there, crossing its arms, behaving very strangely. Roxas, going over, not having much IT skills, manages to run the program. When suddenly, out steps a man. Pikachu is absolutely shocked and stunned into silence. When Roxas approaches him, Bill thanks him for his help. On further discussion, this maybe takes about an hour of their time together, he asks Bill about fossils, fossilized Pokemon, why Team Rocket might be so interested in them. He says he isn't too sure, but that there is maybe a contact that Roxas can speak to on the SSN. It's docked in Viridian City and has people from all over the world. Maybe someone in there would be able to help him in this matter. He was invited to go as his prestige in the Pokemon community is well renowned, but he hates parties, so he just says, just hold the ticket, they're probably not going to check the name. Just quickly walk on by, but try and see a contact who is actually an international agent that he's aware of and has been doing work against Team Rocket. With that all in mind, Roxas sets forth back to Viridian City. His Pokemon now growing in strength to strength. A strangeness, though, he notices is in a level of discontentment in Prince. Princess had gone from despising Prince for his sudden evolution to now surpassing him in reaching her final evolution. In passing by all of the other trainers, they seem to be in general well-mannered and good-natured and happy for Roxas to have shown that he is in fact quite a talented trainer himself, and some even suggest going back to Viridian City and facing Misty, the second gym leader of his journey through collecting the Kanto gym badges. On realising the strength of his newest companion, Bellsprout, or Sunny, he figures one more trainer just by the river here, letting Splishy have a play in the riverside beside him. He faces this one other camper as he waits in the grass. This trainer sends forth a Rattata, and once again, the fear, the cold sweat on the back of his neck forces him to swap over to Prince, who again, just given his negative quirk in that he wants to be the strongest, given that Princess has now surpassed him in level, reaching level 20, Prince feels it important now to level up and get as strong as her. He throws out an Ekans, which is no problem for Prince. Being a poison type, none of the poison moves that Ekans can dish out is of any real concern. But as he uses a horn attack, the snake coils and constricts, wrapping around Prince, crushing into him strongly as the attack continues and continues. However, one well-landed strike of his horn leaves the other Pokemon wounded and is called back by his trainer, ready to be brought back to Nurse Joy for medical treatment. Roxas is left in deep thought with all of this. He recalls back to the fight on this bridge with his rival Sora, and realizing that while Sora didn't mean for it to go that far, he is surprised at just how strong his other Pokemon must be. And wondering back to the loss of Chrysalis, wondering if it could have been avoided. That thought, heavy in his heart, gathers himself and makes his way to the Viridian City gym to face Misty and her water types. Stepping out onto the dock-like pathway to Misty, being surrounded by all this water does make him uneasy. But looking to his grass-type Sunny, who just seems raring to go, he steps forward and boldly challenges Misty to a gym challenge to see if he's one step closer to claiming all 8 of the badges to take part in the Indigo League. After some pleasantries, Misty steps aboard a floating stage. Roxas does the same. Her Staryu dives into the pool and jumps out, leaving a flurry of water, dousing Roxas in the process. It spins forward and tackles Sunny hard, but in getting in close range, Sunny opens its mouth and leaves a spore of powders that render the star asleep on his floating pedestal. Misty using an item to help protect Staryu from an attack. Meanwhile, Sunny dances, using growth to extend the length and devastation of its vines as it absorbs sunlight from the glistening sky above. Once Staryu awakens, it shakes off, renders another tackle, and goes to jump back into the water when it is grasped by Sunny, its vine elongating, wrapping around and thrusting the star up into the ceiling, crashing it instantly, leading to a KO as Misty now calls out a Starmie. Knowing now the strength and danger of Bellsprout, she uses an X defend, but to no avail, as this grass type move is based on the special stat, and an X defend will do nothing to stop the power. And with 2 decisive blows of Vine Whip, Sunny dispatches her 2 Pokemon, gaining a level for each one defeated. And with that, Roxas claims the Cascade Badge from Misty. While recalling Starmie, she offers a thumbs up and says that really, Roxas is a talented trainer, and she didn't even hold back. And knowing your type differences and status effects, both as a negative to your opponents and a positive for yourself, is one of the keys in being able to turn a difficult battle into a simple one. She gives Roxas the Bubble Beam TM, and Splishy even enjoys playing in the swimming pool with the other water Pokemon in her gym. Misty does say, take really good care of that Pokemon. Many people will only see it as useless, but it's important you have a good handle on that Pokemon going forward. Roxas seems bemused by her words. After all, the salesman did say this Pokemon is basically the gentlest and non-effective water types there is. He even tried in the Pokemon Center in the coming afternoon to teach it Bubble Beam, but it wasn't able to learn it. Knowing that he's now going to have to move on to the Viridian City cruise on the SSN, Roxas decides to, using his newfound winnings from the Pokemon Gym Challenge, decides to stock up on the essentials, Pokeballs, potions and the like. But while he's there, the shop browsers, all kind of talking in hushed tones, mention that one of their neighbours bought a TM for his Diglett to teach it dig because he was too lazy to give it the levels themselves. But in a twist of fate, they seem to have been burgled. Roxas now suspecting Team Rocket as he thinks back to Mount Moon and the fact that all of those different searches for fossils, could they have been looking for a TM to help them dig? Speaking to the officer, she says that the poor people were robbed and she suspects Team Rocket are behind it, and that even the police force, as spread thin as they are, can't seem to find them. The daughter of the man in question even says that Team Rocket must be trying to dig their way to no good, and Roxas can only imagine if they couldn't find fossils the conventional way through mining, perhaps they were going to subjugate Pokemon to help their dig more expressly. On leaving the other side of the house, he is stopped by a Rocket who says, "Listen kid, you've done enough trouble here. You're going to really want to stop interfering with our plans." Brandishing the 2 gym badges on his cufflink, Roxas says, "You're really going to have to stop underestimating me. I've stopped all of your people before, and I'll keep doing it again." Splishy leaps out of its Pokeball in a defiant defense of its master, and once again, the Rocket laughs. Machop Karate Chop. In a gallant defense, Princess leaps forward, catching the small fighting type Pokemon in its hands, but in coming in unprepared, she is struck with a critical hit. As the 2 fighting types exchange blows of karate chops and double kicks, Princess does prove the victor, evolution clearly giving her a better advantage. However, poison type, this should be easy, and out came a Pokemon that Roxas had no idea who it was. Returning Nidoqueen to her Pokeball, Splishy once again comes out to fight. Roxas hurriedly pulls his teammate aside, sending out Huntress to hopefully take this on. Huntress douses the battlefield, kicking up sand attack after sand attack, nearly blinding the Drowsy, whose unusual hand movements seemed to imply it was trying a hypnotic pattern. But thanks to the distraction of the sand, it seems like its motions of hypnotism didn't take effect. It then sends out a psychic blast, trying to inhibit Huntress from being able to follow Roxas' commands with a disabling attack. However, Huntress proves indomitable and takes out the Drowsy swiftly and with precision. With that, the Rocket, running away in haste, drops the CD containing Dig as he flees. Roxas goes to return the item to the owner, and while he says, "Thanks boy, you really are kind-hearted, but I've actually already taught my Diglett the move Dig already, so I don't actually need that TM anymore. And given that you were kind enough to give it back to a stranger, you just hold on to it yourself." Making his way further down towards the underground path that links Cerulean and Viridian City, undercutting Saffron, Roxas explores the grasslands. Given that we're now on a new route, Roxas can get another encounter. A Rattata dives out in front of Roxas. Splishy once again leaping out to his defense. Roxas kind of sighs in exasperation, but remembers Misty's words to always treat that Pokemon kindly, and he takes that to heart. Nidoqueen steps out again to defend its over-exuberant ally. With one scratch attack, the Rattata reels backwards, but even against this indomitable foe, it stares it down. Roxas, not wanting his ally to be hurt, throws a Pokeball. The Pokedex says, Rattata, the rat Pokemon, will chew on anything with its fangs. If you see one, it is certain that 40 more live in the area. On giving it the nickname, the Pokeball vanishes from his hand. Roxas still just feeling a chill, knowing that none of his compatriots would allow a Rattata on the team. Still, if times become dire, maybe it could be the one ally they need the most. As Roxas walks by, he sees a daycare, allowing for Pokemon that are too weak to fight for themselves to be tended and trained by a wise master of Pokemon, who has since long retired but wants to help Pokemon that trainers find difficult training to reach their full potential. Roxas resigns himself to want to train his Pokemon himself, but does take a business card in case anything in the future might need him to leave a Pokemon in capable hands while he trains. On stepping into the underground, he sees a trainer. They ask if he happens to have the Pokemon Cubone and that he will offer a trade. Roxas takes note of the other trainer, but says unfortunately he doesn't own that Pokemon. He often found the idea of trading strange. Your Pokemon are meant to be your allies. Why would you give them up to a total stranger? On exiting the other side, another lady said, "Be sure to keep an eye on your belongings. Many people lose lots of things in the underground." While Roxas explores this new area, brand new to him, he sends to find another Rattata, and once again just runs. However, on stepping to the side again, they all just seem to swarm. The Pokedex was right about one thing, and that was, where there's one, there are probably 40 more to follow. Rattata after Rattata. Again and again, Roxas runs from these encounters, not wanting to face the Pokemon that ended his. In a turn of fate, he hears a mighty caw. Huntress leaps out of her Pokeball, instinctively seeing a Pidgeotto dash towards Roxas. The two do battle in the air. Huntress now wanting to prove that her loss in Viridian Forest as a Pidgey was simply due to the evolution difference and nothing more. Huntress throws sand in the eyes of this Pidgeotto. It tries to do the same, but Huntress bats the dust away with a hearty gust of its wings. Huntress then, using its agility, quickly darts with quick attack after quick attack, pummeling the bird in the air. Attack after attack lands, the bird unable to hit Huntress with sand in its eye, and with a decisive critical hit, ends the rival bird. A strange aria lilts through the air as Roxas comes across a small pink Pokemon with mesmerizing eyes. Sunny hears the music and starts to dance erratically, waving a gust of spores that then put this little Pokemon to sleep. Rox is intrigued, thinking it'll be a nice friend for Sunny to have, throws a Pokeball, but all of a sudden, it breaks free. Roxas hadn't really come across this before, but was acutely aware that this Pokemon was a gentler, more novice Pokemon. If he were to actually attack with any of his compatriots, this Pokemon probably would run away in fear. So putting it once again into a slumber, he throws the Pokeball again, hoping for this Pokemon to join their cause. Eventually, after enough throws, the Pokeball was successful and Jigglypuff was caught. The Pokédex says the following. Jigglypuff, the balloon Pokemon, uses its alluring eyes to enrapture its foes. It then sings a pleasing melody that lulls the foe to sleep. He gives her the nickname Seraphine for her angelic voice, and resolutes himself to walk back to Cerulean to retrieve her from the PC system. And that's going to be our episode today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. There was lots of triumphs and new Pokemon in store, and I can't wait for you guys to see the next episode. Talk to you then.